Hey folks, today we're continuing our geometry units. Today we're talking about surface area, more specifically, surface area of 3D figures. The surface area of all the areas of the shapes that cover the surface of the object. That's surface area. A lateral face is the face or surface of a solid on its sides, not the base or the face. A cube is a box-shaped solid object that has 6 identical sides or faces. This would be like a dice. Regular prisms are a solid object with 6 faces that are rectangles. A right prism is a solid object with 2 identical parallel bases and several rectangular faces. The bases and rectangles meet at 90-degree angles, or right angles. The difference between the right prism and the rectangular prism, a rectangular prism could actually have a lean to it. And in doing that, not all the faces would all meet at 90 degrees. So that's the difference between those two. A triangular prism is a prism that has 2 triangular bases and 3 rectangular sides. It would look like this. Now, let's look at trying to find the surface area of a cube. The surface area of a cube, the surface area of a cube is the area of the 6 squares that cover it. The area of one of these square sides is length times width, or a squared, because the sides are the same measurement. You can just square the number. Since this measurement is the same for all sides, you would then multiply it by 6. For instance, let's say one side was 3 centimeters. If this was 3 here, then that means that one is 3. So length times width is 3 times 3, which gives you 9. And then you times that by 6, gives you 36. Now, we're talking about surface area. So it's very important that you label it correctly. It's 36 centimeters squared. Okay? Now let's find another surface area. Let's say it's 5 centimeters. I'll give you a second maybe and see if you can figure that one out on your own. Okay. So, if you're still working, keep working. But remember, the sides are the same, and they're all 5 inches, so it's 5 times 5, and that gives you 25. Now you're going to multiply that by 6 because of the 6 sides. And what do you get? You get 150 centimeters squared. Now, let's do one more. Find the surface area of a cube that has a length of 1/2 centimeter. Half of a centimeter. So we have 1/2 times 1/2, right? Length times width. So that's 1/4. Now, what do? We got to multiply that by 6, right? So 1/4 times 6, and that gives you 6/4, or 1 2/4, or 1 1/2 centimeters squared. Just a little bit of extra work, but not that bad. Okay, let's look at this, a rectangular prism. In words, the surface area of a rectangle prism is the area of the 6 rectangles that cover it. Now, because all the sides are not the same measurement, you cannot simply multiply it by 6. So, let's look here. Let's say the measurements are 6, 4, we'll call this the 2 and this the 4. Length, width, height. Okay, now here's your formula. 2 times length times width plus 2 times width times height plus 2 times length times height. The reason you're multiplying everything by 2 is because for every one side, it has another one that matches. This side here matches this side. This side here matches this side. And then the top and the bottom also match. So here's how it's going to work. You're going to have A is equal to 2 times 6 times 2 plus 2 times 4 plus 2 times 4 times 6. Now, it looks like a lot, but it's really simple math. We shouldn't have too big of an issue with this. The biggest word of advice I can give you is don't skip steps. Simply write it out. Take your time. I know this will be 2 times 12 plus 2 times 8 plus 2 times 24. And this is going to be 24 plus 16 plus 48. Now just add them up. 24 plus 16 plus 48. And that's going to give you 88 centimeters squared. Okay, let's look at one more example. And I will take these off. That way we can write another set on there. We have 4, 5, and 10. So let's say that's 10. We'll call that 5, and we'll call that 4. Again, it's 2 times 4 times 10 plus 2 times 10 times 5 plus 2 times 5 times 4. So, I know this will be 2 times 40 plus 2 times 50 plus 2 times 20. This is going to be 80 plus 100 plus 40. And 80 plus 100 plus 40 gives you 220 centimeters squared. Okay. In the essence of room and everything, we're going to go ahead and skip that one. We're going to go down to the triangular prism. We don't have a lot of room up there. If you'd like to try that one later, please go ahead. Okay. Surface area of a triangular prism. Here's your formula. Now I know this looks really crazy. It's not that bad though. We know how to find the formula for triangles, right? We do. 1/2 base times height. Well, guess what? There's 2 triangles and they match. So if you find the area for one triangle, you simply multiply it by 2. Now, the other thing to see is that there's 3 rectangles on this triangle. Okay, hopefully I can do this and it doesn't look too messed up. But you have 3 triangles. You got one on each side. There's 3 of them, okay? What we need to do is find, that's where your rectangle, rectangle, rectangle comes into play. So, what you have to do is find the area for both of the triangles, find the area for each rectangle, and add them up. Now, we know the triangles is 7 by 4 and it's 6.5 tall. Well, what's the area, or I'm sorry, it's 6 tall. So what's the area for triangle? It's 1/2 base times height. Excuse me. So you have 1/2 4 times 6. And then you're going to multiply that by 2. Let me rewrite that and try to fit it in there a little bit better. So you're going to have 2 times 1/2 times 4 times 6 plus one rectangle is going to be 12 by 7 because this is 7, this one is 7. So that's 12 times 7 plus 4 times 12. And then the other one is going to be 12 times 7. Okay, let's do some math. 4 times 6 is 24. If I times that by half, or divide it by 2, is the same thing, same concept, you get 12. And then when you multiply it by 2, you get 24. So that's 24. 12 times 7 is 84. And then 4 times 12 should be 48. Now you simply add those up. 24 plus 84 plus 48 plus 84. 240 centimeters squared. All right, let's try one more. You have, it's the same thing, same process. First off, base and the height of the triangles. Excuse me, I'm sorry, of your triangles. You're going to have 2 times 1/2 times 4 times 3. Plus the rectangle, which is 15 by 5. Plus another one, 15 by 5. And I'm running out of room, I'm going to bring this down here. Plus the bottom one, which is 4 times 15. Okay, so let's do some math. 4 times 3 is 12. Divided in half, or multiplied by half, is 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 15 times 5 is 75. Then we have another one. Now, you're not always going to have two of the same measurements on two of the same sides. You could have different measurements, so be mindful of that and pay attention to your numbers. And then the last one, 4 times 15, is 60. And then just add them up. 75 plus 75 plus 60 plus 12 gives you 222 and centimeters squared. There you go. All right, I think we have one more. Oh, goodness. Whew. Composite figures. All right, folks, bear with us here. Now, this isn't as bad as it looks. I promise you it's not that bad. Think of it like a house or a box with a triangle roof. And we're going to find the surface area. Okay? Now, first things first. If I was to take this house, because we're talking surface area, if I was going to paint this house, there is a section that would not get painted. And you see this line here. Because I have this rooftop, the area right here in between the roof and the house, or the attic space, it would not get painted. So the top of the house and the bottom of the roof, you have to take that away from the measurements at the end. Now, let's go through this. First, let's look at the cube, okay? Or I'm sorry, not the cube, it's a rectangle prism. Remember the formula is right here. So I'm going to mark these as A, B, and C. And it doesn't matter which ones you mark A, B, and C. You can mark any of them. You're going to end up getting the same answer. So you have 2 times 6 times 8 plus 2 times 8 times 5 plus 2 times 6 times 5. Okay. 6 times 8 is going to be 48 times 2 will be 96. Plus 8 times 5 is 40 times 2 is 80. plus 6 times 5 is 30 times 2, 6 times 5 is 30 times 2 is 60. Now we're going to add those up. 96 plus 80 plus 60 is 236. So we have 236 centimeters squared. Now I know I did not write this line through here of math. I'm going to run out of room, so I'm trying to save a little room, okay? But don't do as I say, not as I do on that one. Sorry. Okay. Now I need to find the area for the rectangle prism up top, or the attic. My base and my height, because this line here is the same as that, that's going to be 8. Base times height. So 2 times 1/2 times, excuse me, 8 times 4. Okay? And then plus, here's a rectangle here. And it's going to be the same as this. That's 5. And we don't have a measurement here, so let's call these, we'll call these 5 as well. How about that? We'll call them 5 as well. Now, so you're going to have, excuse me, actually that's not going to work because you can't have 5 and 5. It's a rectangle. So let me give you a different number. We'll call it 3 and 3. How about that? That looks good. Okay. So we're going to have your rectangle here, which is going to be 3 times 5, plus you're going to have another rectangle on the same side, or I mean on the opposite side. That'll be the same measurement. It'll be 5 times 3. And then plus the bottom. It's going to be 8 times 5. 8 times 5. Okay. Now let's do some math. This will be 15. This will be 15. This will be 40. Over here, 8 times 4 is 32. Divided in half is 16. Times 2 is 32. Now let's add them up. You have 32 plus 15 plus 15 plus 40. 102. Okay? 102 centimeters squared. Now, these are our two measurements: the roof and the house. But remember what I said, we have to take away that rectangle there. There's actually 2 of them, okay? And it is 8 by 5. So what is 8 times 5 equals 40? But now there's 2 of those there, equals 80 centimeters squared. So we need to take those away. So first, we're going to add First, we're going to add these together. So you have 102 plus 236. That's 8, 3, and 3 centimeters squared. Now we need to take away this area here, the 2 bases where that object and that object meet. Okay? So minus 80 centimeters squared. That is going to be 8, 13 and 2. That'll be 2. And that should be 5. Yep. So your new measurement is 258 centimeters squared. That would be the area, the surface area of the objects. Because remember, like I said before, what we're looking at here is a triangular prism and a rectangular prism. But when they're sitting on top of each other, the area here and the area there would not get painted, right? The attic space would not get painted. So we had to take those away, okay? All right, folks. Take a moment to review if you need, and then start your exit slip. If you run into trouble, let us know. We'll help you out, review with you. And if you do good, then go ahead and go to your homework. If you have questions, email us and let us